want to touch on, the building side. We got a bunch of new people here tonight, and I wanted to just touch on our perception of the business. I think your perception of Primerica will determine how big you build your business. And every time I meet with people that are brand new, I say that you don't have enough information not to be interested. People walk out and go, "This is not for me." And I go, "Like, what part don't you like? The fact that we help people, or you make a lot of money? Like, which one pissed you off?" Right? So what happens is they don't have enough information not to be interested. Sometimes people walk out, like tonight, people walk out at me like a puppy pissing on the floor. They don't have enough information to be that excited either. If they take the time to understand who we are and what we do, it's bigger and better than we talk about. And I think those of you who are at the convention, when you had a chance to hear the incomes and the net worths, the guys, they brought up all the $1 million earners on stage, and who was paid $100 million here, $90 million, $80 million. I know there's stupid money in the sports years ago, and even now, most players don't have an opportunity to make that, right? And if you think about in Primerica, that's why we talk about all the time. It doesn't require talent; it requires tenacity. And so what I want to do is go through an example of our business here, and what we are, what we're not. A lot of times people go, "Well, it's kind of like financial services, and it's kind of like multi-level marketing." My perception is we're not in the financial services business. We're in the distribution of financial products. And we're definitely not in the multi-level marketing business, because our business is a service-oriented business. So what I always like to do is kind of break it down and keep it simple. I think we're in the financial services. I think we're in a financial education business. And really what we do is we educate people on areas that they should be doing for themselves but currently don't. And I don't think it's multi-level marketing, it's distribution. One of the guests met with me before the meeting tonight. He goes, "Oh, no, I was in a business just like this." I go, "Oh, you're in the financial services business?" He goes, "No, I'm not going to mention the name of the company." He goes, "No, it was a product that sold juice." How does that equate to what we're doing, right? Just like real estate. Real estate has brokers and agents. And we use that analogy, but we're not in the real estate business, right? But to me, if you look at what's the closest thing we are, when you look at our business game plan, is the real estate business. So when you look at the distribution business, let me go through some of the concepts, right? We have tremendous leverage because of what we do, that concept of bringing Wall Street to Main Street. So how do you create leverage for yourself? The first thing you've got to do is get licensed. Let me also say this, those of you that are not securities licensed in this room, there's no way Jose would put his $50,000 watch on and make $100,000 in the next 90 days without a securities license, right? It's like getting into a fight with one hand and trying to box a guy with two hands. Right? That's why MMA is crazy, because you get hit with 8 different things. You know what I mean? Feet, knees, elbows, hands, right? It's tough to compete. You're over there like this, trying to do it. So that concept, you want to create that. So you want to get how you create leverage, and you create your own leverage is by getting licensed. Not just licensed, but fully licensed. So part of your game plan is if you want to grow your business since you left Atlanta, you want to make sure you get fully licensed. Second thing is you want to get competent. Not competent at what we do, but competent at how to present what we do. Because we're not in the financial services business. If you were going to be an actuary in the insurance business, if you were going to be a portfolio manager, yeah, you got to do all that stuff. I'm having a party in my house in August. The company ran a trip for securities. We've got 62 couples that won from our organization. And the trip is in Marco Island, which is 22 minutes from my house, by car. By boat, it takes me 40 minutes to get there because you got to go out in the Gulf. But so I'm going there for a few days, but I'm having a party Monday night. I got a shuttle picking up all of our guys. I'm doing a party for 100 and something people, plus Glenn Williams and all the guys from the home office. So David Siegel calls me up and he goes, "Oh," he sounds like Liberace a little bit, but he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, we're really excited to come to your house." I said, "David, you weren't even invited." He's the president of PFS Investments, right? So he goes, "I'm not invited." I go, "We'll see if I can get you in," right? So, and I was busting his chops. He goes, "No," he goes, don't you want me to bring some of the portfolio managers and get him to spend some time?" I said, "I don't want to learn any of that shit." I go, "If they want to come have a drink, they can, but they're not talking in business at my house, right? We just want to have a couple of drinks, and I got a chef come in and cater it." And the fact is this, we don't have to get overly competent. You have to be able to learn how to present it. I'm going to show you how we present some of the things tonight, okay? But you got to get confident at presenting it, not getting caught up in the financial services industry, because we're not in that. We're in the financial education business. The big 3 that we talk about, one is protection, income protection, right? That's the foundation of your F&A. You've got to get good. and I was going to do it, I'm going to do it at the Monday managers meeting next Monday. I have a whole presentation on our life insurance versus the life insurance in the industry. And I'm going to make a statement. I've never seen another product that even competes close to what we have. Now, I've seen products that beat us the first year or 2 years, sometimes 5 years, but I'll show you, when you take all the, I've never seen a product I can't replace. So it's that confidence when you sit there, and I'm going to go through a presentation on Monday in the managers meeting here. Right down Monday? Yes, Monday. And I'm going to go through that presentation is a little bit too fundamental. It's for really licensed people only. But I'll go through some examples and some analogies on that. Our income protection, what we do for people, nobody does, right? Saving and investing. I don't care if you've got money, if you've got $100,000 you want to put a structured account, if you've got managed account, somebody's got a huge net worth. So you look at all the things that we do, what we do for people, nobody does, right? And so the investment side of our business is awesome, and we've got experts in every field that do that. What we've got to do is we've got to learn how to present the debt. When you look at the debt side, and the debt just got better, right? They announced Rocket Mortgage, number one mortgage company in the country right now. We're representing them going forward. They're test piloting right now, and it's going to get opened up in every state. You're going to be able to sit down with a person and replace their mortgage if it makes sense. And we're not going to, by the way, I'm not going to be in the mortgage business. In 2008, we were doing mortgages with Citi, before Citi became shitty, right? And we were doing mortgages with them. We made $800,000. $800,000 in 1 year in mortgage overrides. Nice. They introduced mortgages. They just gave us $1 million to $2 million pay increase. Nice. For doing the same thing while they were doing the F&A. And by the way, I don't know anything about mortgages. I have buddies that were in the mortgage business, so like, I don't understand. How do you not know this stuff? Like, we'll go out dinner, he's like, oh yeah, I just closed a 20, 35, 40. I go, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, how do you do more mortgages than me? I don't do more mortgages. I do millions of dollars more a month than you do. I said, because I got guys that know what they're doing. I got guys like you that do it, right? So we're going to be able to utilize be in that mortgage business really without having to be in a mortgage business, which is awesome. Also, where we create leverage in our business is because of the value that we provide, right? When we sit down with a client, guys, and we do a financial needs analysis, right? And we sit down and do an F&A. I've been doing this 32 years. I've never, ever in 32 years, and you guys tell me the same that have been around for a while, RVP's in here, I've never sat down with a client ever and they've had a financial game plan like this. I've had people go, oh no, I got insurance over here. I think I have a CD or something over here. I think I have a 401k. Right. Who do you have your insurance with? I don't know. Like, right? You know what I'm talking about? Right. I've never sat down with a person and they pulled out a document and it showed them from A to Z how to create a FIN number, how to get out of debt, how to put your financial house in order. Never. And the coolest thing about it is it's duplicable. It's not personality driven. It's system driven. Nice. So if you're Jaime, or me, right? Or Steve Buendia, or who, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like in McDonald's. If every one of us owned the McDonald's, it would all taste the same. Even though some of us were born in different areas, right or wrong? Right. It's the system. And that's what separates us. So the value in the crusade side of what we do is huge, right? And then the referral side, in the financial services business, if you want to go make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year in the financial services business, Howard Laster spoke on stage. He made $1.4 million. Last April was at less than $800,000. Took his income from $800,000 in less than 10 months to $1.4 million. Nice. He went 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Diamonds. Why? Because what he did was he utilized the referral. By the way, he didn't leave his house when he did that. Right. He did that via the computer over the phone because he had an illness. But he grew his income an extra $50,000 or $60,000 a month. Made almost $140,000 last month. You know how many licenses Howard has? 50. It's crazy. Now, I don't want to be in a financial services business, but there's not a person in this room that should have a job that's working, making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. I promise you this, you're not adding as much value for most people, and you can't make the same income because of what we do, the referral process, right? And when I took these guys out, the thing I want to show them is we recruited people over the kitchen table, we closed business, and we got some referrals. They did that 2 or 3 times, and I said, now you got to figure it out. Because that's how I learned, right? You could put yourself in a position where you have more place to go than you have time to. So when you look at the referrals, it's never ending. And then you got to personally produce, which is what creates leverage. And I talk about that all the time. But if you look at the distribution side, right? And this is what we're talking about, right? 110, regional leader, 70%. I put this in here for you, Jose. It's a 40% override. You see that right there? Okay. All right. So when you factor it, the leverage on the distribution side, right, is prospecting and marketing. Every single day you're prospecting and marketing. People go, well, Prime American doesn't advertise. That's bullshit. We advertise. We just recruited thousands of people last month. Every one of us who told the Prime America story today, or yesterday, Tiff, you left me a message, hey, I picked up a name and number today, prospect, right? Boom, I prospected, set up 2 o'clock. What you're doing is you're doing a commercial for the company. So the company had 50,000 plus people walk out of that event last week, last Saturday night, walking, talking commercials for who we are and what we do. You want to talk about the most cost-effective way? Listen, if I said, what's your favorite restaurant? It's not your favorite restaurant because someone tried to pull you in and give you a discount coupon for you to eat there. Somebody referred, I was in Lake Como a few weeks ago, and we were there for 5 days, and as I'm walking down, we had reservations at the, I said, if the President of the United States was here, and whether you like him or not, but if he was here, where would he eat? He goes, oh, he would definitely want to go to this place. I go, good. I said, the concierge at our hotel, could you get us reservations? She says, I don't think so. I said, he's not coming. I'll take his reservation. Right? So she got his reservation. As I'm walking to the restaurant, which is not far from our hotel, I'm walking to the restaurant, and then the guys are sitting out there with the man, hey, don't, bye. Oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to cancel my reservations and come to your restaurant where you're pulling me in off the street with their 6 knuckleheads in there, right? An empty restaurant. Every growing business builds through referrals because of what we do. We're prospecting and marketers, right? And then so, let's go through it here. And I'm going to show you the numbers that Glenn Williams talked about in a second. Doris Chow, who works with us, who used to live in New York. Actually, Doris Chow is recruited from Dean Aloya. We used to work with Dean Aloya. Dean recruited her. She moved to Florida. I flew her down, her and her husband down there, put them up in a hotel. And just as a little incentive, they were doing good. They were in our base shop. I flew them down there. And then 2 weeks later, she calls me up. She goes, I sold my house. I'm moving to Florida. I said, Doris, what are you doing? She goes, didn't you, isn't that why you flew me down? I go, no, I moved down to Florida to get away from you, right? Like, that's not flying people down after that. But so she put her $100,000 ring on last month. Nice. And I was going through, I looked at her numbers, say 50 recruits this month, she killed it, team's growing. And I say, if you have 3 licensed reps, direct to you, 3 licensed reps that get to district, 3. That make $1,000 a month, you're making $100,000 a year. Nice. I looked at her numbers today. She had 3 directs in her base shop last month, make over $1,000 part-time. She made over $12,000. The numbers never change, right? So what a senior rep should have, what it should look like while recruiting and building, which should be 1 to 3 licensed reps. District leaders, 3 to 6 licensed reps, right? Division leaders, 6 to 10 licensed reps. Regional leaders, 10 to 20. And then regional vice presidents, 20 to 35. And I'm going to show you this in a second based upon what Glenn Williams talked about in our RVP meeting last Thursday night. And so what it allows you to do through distribution is put more hours in your day. And I'm talking you out right now. We have people out closing business, doing business, sitting down with people, doing everything, rolling money over, right? I know some of you get pissed. I sent a text message last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting text messages from people. I have my phone on silent. I got this morning, I had like 35 messages from people because people on the West Coast were still doing business at 2:30 in the morning. Glenn Lee was sending out messages. They were sitting down with people who worked the night shift last night, which was crazy, right? Unlimited referrals. But this is what separates us from every other company when people talk about multi-level marketing, which we're not. We're leverage marketing, but distribution is it's a real industry. What we do, each area that we provide, we do a financial needs analysis, but auto and home, the P&C business, is its own industry. Long-term care is its own industry. There's people that just sell long-term care. There's people that just sell variable annuities. There's people that just sell mutual funds. There's people that just sell life insurance. And then there's people that just do mortgages or debt. So prepaid legal, you understand prepaid legal, we have an agreement with prepaid legal. That's its own separate entity company. And they recruit, train, and develop people. And there's people that come full-time and they sell prepaid legal. You know what else they sell? They sell prepaid legal. And they also sell prepaid legal. And And they could also sell you prepaid legal. We go and do your financial needs analysis, and people don't have, we say, by the way, do you have a will? Do you have it? You should probably have some type of protection, have an attorney on retainer without having. We sell the same product that prepaid legal sells. We get the same, it's the same premium, same product, same everything. We make the same money, but it's just an add-on to what we do, which is crazy, right? And so it's a real industry. So I'm going to talk about what makes it a real industry in a second. I want to talk about what we do. So, Dean, I'm going to use these examples that you and I chatted about the other day. If I could find it. That didn't sound right. Okay. And I'm going to use some examples. 5 years ago, for this guy who was a fireman, and he was talking about retiring in a few years. I sat down and we had an expensive cash value policy, and I replaced it. I set him up in some mutual funds, and then when he retired, he had a thing called a 457, and he had about $200,000 in his 457. And I forgot all about it. I told this story yesterday, but I was at his house. So he moves to Bradenton, Florida. He goes, I'm living in Florida near you. I said, it's about an hour and a half from me, but yeah, it's by me. And he goes, do you think you can meet with me? I said, I've given all my clients away. He goes, you can't just meet with me once a year. So he's like, he thinks he's like my dad. He's an older guy, so I just go once a year to give him a hug, him and his wife a hug, and have a beer with him, and I leave, right? So I was in Orlando on Wednesday for my son, ESPN football showcase bullshit, and then Thursday morning on the way back, I stopped at his house. I pulled up his portfolio. He's got $1.2 million with us. In the last 20 years, he went from $200,000 to $1.2 million. That's what he's got available right now. I created another annuity for him besides that, where he's got money coming in, which covers all his expenses. He has zero debt, and his mortgage is paid off.
Wow.
And I sat there, he had like tears in his eyes, and I thought how cool is it? I walk out of his house, and he goes, you came to my house 25 years ago. You were probably 30. And he goes, you look like you were 15. And you come to my house, and you did this little presentation, and you pulled up with your little BMW used car, right? And he goes, you pulled up to the house, and you start saying, listen, and he goes, you looked me in the eye, and you go, if you listen to me, you're going to retire a millionaire. If you listen to me, it's impossible. He goes, well, same shit I say to everybody, right? So he goes, I go, if you listen to me, it's impossible to fail. He goes, you said I was going to be a millionaire. And we left. We tried not to laugh in your face. You left the house. Hey, what's up, man? You left the house, and he goes, my wife and I looked at him and go, he's got to be stoned. There's no way that we're ever going to have $1 million. And he looks at me, he starts crying, he goes, you got to give me a hug. He goes, you son of a bitch, I'm a millionaire. I said, you bet your ass. Let me tell you why I came by here today. Because you're a cheap bastard, right? And all he does is save money. I said, you got to start spending money. Every time I call him, I'm just coming back from Europe. I'm just doing this travel. I was in St. Bart's. He's like, all you do is go places. I go, bro, you're not taking it with you. You got to travel. So let me tell you why I stopped by. I stopped by to say hello, go over this, but the real reason I stopped by is so you need to go spend some money. It's not designed so that you leave $2 million when you're 92 and die to your 70-year-old son who's a mooch, right? You got to spend your money, you cheap bastard. And so he goes, oh, it's all so I'm set. He goes, dude, it's so funny you're here today. We just booked a trip. So I'm like, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to Nashville. And then we're going to Memphis, because she wants to see where Elvis Presley's grave. I said, no, that's not a trip. That's a layover. You do that shit for like an hour and go to Europe or something. Anyway, he goes, I gotta start where I stand. So when you get back to this, so I left there, and then Dean and I were talking on the phone, and I want to share this with you. He has it's right here. So we whited out the guy's name. Keep the innocent innocent. I thought that was his name. That's this. So this guy's a cop. And we sat there, and Dean sat down with him, and this cop retired from the police force, and you hear people go, oh, I have a pension. A lot of companies don't have pensions anymore. Pensions is like, it's like saying you have a dot matrix printer. You know what I'm saying? Not every company has a pension like these, but if you work for the police department, you work for the fire department, they've got these little pension unions sometimes, right? So you ever have these, so there's different options that you can have. Now this guy, most cops, when they retire a fireman, they work crazy overtime the last few years, so they get the averages up and they do the right thing for themselves, right? So, which is cool, I guess. So this guy's pension, which is a lot of money, is $130,000 a year coming in. How long has he been on the job, Dean?
27 years.
Right, 27 years, makes good income, right? But his pension retirement is $130,000 a year, guaranteed for the rest of his life. So he's got a couple options here. This was the first option. He gets $130,000 coming in. Now there's 6 different options that he has, so he was up between this one, here, or here. And so let's just look at this one. This one here, option 4.2, is $110,000. So he gets $130,000 a year coming up for the rest of his life. He's 53 or 52 years old, whatever he is, which is young.
Right.
$130,000 coming in for the rest of his life, guaranteed. But if he dies, his wife gets nothing. That's how much you like your wife. No, so then, but he can switch it. He goes, instead of getting $130,000, he can get $110,000 coming in for the rest of his life. And if he dies, his wife gets $110,000 coming in for the rest of his life. Pretty cool concept. So I said to Dean, I would do the 130 and have my wife get nothing if I died, because I'd rather give her more than $130,000 than this. So we went through the numbers. I said, so anytime somebody says, well, my company's paying, I have insurance with my company, you're paying extra for it.
Right.
When someone goes, no, you understand, dude, I have a company car. Who do you think's paying? They go, oh, you're a good guy, here's a company car. That just means they're giving you less money. Pay me and I'll get my own company cars. Right? So any benefit usually you get, there's an add-on to it, but the benefit, so when they go, if you retire, we get a pension. You ever see these people that they win like the lottery, or they can get a lump sum, they get a lump sum here, they can get a payout for the rest of their life? Most of the time, take the lump sum. Because you could do better, you could create your own pension, you could create your own game plan. So one of the things that I said to Dean, let's go through the numbers. So look at this, right? So this guy, instead of getting $130,000, so let's look at the numbers. $130,000, if he dies, his wife gets nothing. $110,000 coming in, if he dies, his wife gets $110,000. But the difference is putting an extra $20,000 a year in his pocket, right or wrong. Right. So he can create his own game plan. So the real concern is hey, if something happens to him, he wants to make sure his wife is taken care of financially, right or wrong? Because they're still young. 2 problems, right? Dying too soon, which is why you need insurance. Yeah. More important than dying too soon is living too long. Right. By the way, this client that I did replace their whole life policy, they got rid of their term policy with us 5 years ago. He had $900,000. I said, you don't need a $250,000 term policy anymore. You buy insurance until you self-insure yourself. Right. Does that make sense? Right. Okay. Other than the state taxes, that's a whole other conversation, right? So watch this. $20,000 a year is what we save. I'd rather take the $20,000, right? Dean's doing his F&A, putting together a game plan. So let's show you what we put together. What he put together. Watch this. Insurance, and he does an insurance product for himself, right? Insurance product. And he does a $2 million life insurance policy. 25-year level term guarantee would be $7,315 a year. Now, $7,000 a year for life insurance is a lot of money. But $2 million is a lot for a guy who's 50-something years old. He could create his own pension. So watch this. For $7,300 a year, he can create his own pension. So what happens is you take $7,000 out of the $20,000, and it leaves almost $13,000. Let's call it $12,000 or $1,000 a month. You with me? Right. Okay. So now what happens is he gets $130,000. He takes the $20,000. He gets $7,000, and he buys insurance. Now if he dies, his wife's got $2 million, which I'll show you. She can create her own pension, which I'll show you that. Well, check it out. I'll show you right now. Shit, I got it right here. Right? So if you factor it, where are we at here? You take $2 million, stick it in an annuity, guaranteed. If something happens, it goes, and then, so watch this. $2 million, if she pulled out $130,000, $130,000 is $20,000 more than she would have got at the 110, right or wrong?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they got a 6% guarantee, which we have annuities that are 6 or 7% guaranteed, and creating a pension plan, right? A real pension plan, which is your own. Pull out $130,000, 25 years later, you still have $1.7 million. 1.1. Excuse me, $1.1 million, thank you. So this money, this life insurance, right? But the difference is, watch this. What do we teach people how to do? Buy term and invest. Good call. So watch this. So we take the $7,000, we buy a $2 million policy, right? Right. We take the 13,000, let's make it 1,000 a month, and we create a little investment. Where are we at here? We are right here. Stay focused. Watch this. $1,000 a month for 35 years at 9%. I showed an investment last time I was here, and I'm going to show it to you because we got some new people here, and I'm not selling you this investment. I own this investment now. 90% of my money sits in Lake Mason and Invesco. I've got 10 to 15, maybe 80%, 10 to 15% in American funds. Most of my money is not in American funds. But I own this fund. It's called the Investment Company of America. I'm not selling you a mutual fund, I'm showing you a concept. This fund has been around since 1934. 1934. So when you look at this, check this out. 1934, the Investment Company of America, if you invested $10,000 in 1934, you'd be freaking old right now. But if you did that, there's been crazy crap that has gone on for 80, people, how long has it been around? 84 years, dude, you're 18, shut up and sit down, right? So 84 years this fund's been around. Watch this. A $10,000 investment, not guaranteed, but this is what it did. In the last 84 years, grew to $147 million. An 84-year return of 12.1%. So when I show someone, is it possible? It's possible and probable to get 9. Okay? So when you factor it out, back to what I was showing you here, $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month at 9%, not guaranteed but realistic, diversifying a portfolio. Tu comprends? Right? $1,000 a month at 9%. That's for my Haitian friends. Right? $1,000 a month at 9% grows to $2.9 million. Let me show you how it looks. Looky here, right? $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. As your annuities paying out, your investment's growing with the same $130 a year coming in. Instead of giving $110, you with me?
Right.
Watch this. In 35 years, this grows to 2.9. Wow. You know the rule of 72 that we show inside? We go 3%, 6%, 12%? Right. And then there's between 3% and 6% is only 3%, but it's a big difference. 9%, 10%, 11%, this could be 6, 7 million.
Right.
So watch this. If you factor it, looking at the same exact numbers, 130,000 Shireen's on the phone. Hey Shireen, who's that phone? $130,000 a month, a year coming in. So instead of having 110, they have 130,000 coming in. But what you've done is you've created an investment so that if something happens, he dies too soon. But check this out. So the option is he gets 130,000 and 0, or he could have 110,000, 110 coming in. So let me ask you all a question. If he did $110,000 coming in and his wife died next year, he killed her. No, she dies next year. His 110's at 110, isn't it?
Yeah.
If she dies next year, that 110's his for the rest of his life. Well, no. The insurance is on him, not on her. He gets God's, right? So exactly. But if he's gonna kill her, then you got to put it on. Right? So you got to do it at least 2 years out. So I'm only kidding. So the 110. So he's got $110,000. She's got $110,000. But let's just say he lives. She lives. All of a sudden, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years from now, knock on wood, the guy passes away. She gets 110 for the rest of her life. If she's not here, it ends. If she dies and he died, then there's nothing. If they both die, how much do the kids get? Gots. Nothing. If we switch the program over, right? Now what we do is we take the 130 and max out the compensation. We create our own pension plan, our own retirement plan, our own nest egg, our own income protection, our own financial portfolio, our own financial needs analysis. And what we do is we have a $2 million, God forbid you die. $2 million, if you just start withdrawing it, and say that $2 million drops down to 1.1 million, like I showed you, and the guy passes away. Right? His kids would get the 1.1 million.
Right.
Plus his kids would get the $2.9 million sitting in investments with the $1,000. So what we just did is gave this family a $4 million experience. If they pass, so the husband's set, God forbid something happens. The wife's set, God forbid something happens. If something happened in the pension plan, the kids get nothing. Now they got a $2 to $4 million experience for the same friggin' money. What we do is phenomenal for people, right? Nobody does what we do, right? Hey, I didn't do it. Clap for Dean. So when you factor that out, the thing we got to look at, right, is putting us in a position. When I said we're a real industry, what separates us, folks, is the fact that we are a real industry, and we put ourselves in a position. We put ourselves in a position where, because it's a real industry, we do phenomenal things for people. And when you take a person's religious beliefs, which I think are important, and then you take health, which is right up there next to breathing, because it is. The third thing people should be focused on, stressed out about, worried about, think about, there's not a day that goes by that we don't leave the house without crap in our pocket, or hopefully, right? Right? And everybody needs extra income.
Right.
What we do is a noble cause. You got to feel great about what we do. And oh, check this out. Dino. I didn't even go over this with you. But watch this. I mean, Dean does this for a love and not a living. But watch this. So the premium on that, $7,000, which is better than him getting, right? As a regional leader, he's going to get paid $5,000. Just for the income protection. Not the investments, not the PACs, not the annuity, no, that stuff. See?
I had looked at that already.
All right. I just wanted to remind you, but I also want to remind you that, there's a difference. and I appreciate your help. Well, like I said to Jose today, Jose go, what was your override? Just so you know, and this is no bullshit, if Jose was an RVP, my override would be more on Jose. If Dean, do I override this? Absolutely. But Dean, if you're an RVP, you make more and I make more.
Nice.
Sure. You can do it. You know what I'm saying? So when you factor it, right, the focus is, if you want to get distribution going, you've got to have a duplicable system. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Then what you've got to do is you've got to build relationships, because we're in a people business. And I understand people are going to let you down. I understand people are going to wean you out. I get it. I get it. I was in the office on Tuesday, and my wife was in the office at the training, and she goes, what happens is people leave the convention. The only thing that scares me is some people leave the convention, they're all excited, they're pumped up, and then 3 weeks later, they fizzle out. 2 months later, they forget why they joined. That happens every day. There's people who join primarily. I was kind of my message when I spoke Friday night. There's people, whatever reason you joined, it's 10 times better than you think it is. And the opportunity, right? But so if you have people that wean you out, that's okay. You replace them. You need 7 to 10 key people to go out there and build a business with. That's what you need. Not 7 to 10,000. So you got to focus on rallying people. If you want to build a business, right? The thing that I'm excited. Who's phone is that? Is there a vibrator up here? All right. So rallying. You got to focus on rallying people. And if you want, so it's leverage, right? As great as the convention was, what you want to focus on 2 years from now, because we're going to have another one, by the way, right? 2 years from now at the next convention, you want to bring an extra 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 people, 100 people. Some of our leaders brought an extra 100 or 200 people. We had over 1,000 more people at this convention than we had at our last convention. Yeah. But the thing that I'm excited about is, and how many of you saw that video I posted on Facebook? Both of you, awesome. Okay, that video I posted on Facebook is I put that out there so that people can hold on to it. And I can resend that thing back out. And I want people to remember what it was like. We had so many leaders come across the stage that were MVPs, part of our hierarchy, that got recognized. And I had a bunch of leaders because the video, I left them off the video, and I got a phone call. How come I didn't make your video? I was just relax, dude. I just only put so much on one video. But how cool is that? But I want people to re-watch that over and over so they don't forget that feeling that they had when they left there Saturday night. And then the distribution is overrides. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Put it back up.
Please.
Back that ass up. Hold on, I'm squinting, I have glasses, I apologize. Oh, jeez. Guys, you know what that's like? That's like when you meet a girl in the club when you're younger, and she's drinking, and you go to the diner, and all of a sudden the lights come on, she looks at you like, oh shit! Someone spiked my drink. Exactly. You got that?
Yeah.
All right. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. It's usually like 2 o'clock in the morning, not 3 o'clock. All right. So let me kind of share something with you, and I want to kind of recap from what Glenn Williams talked about in the meeting. Okay? We had an RVP meeting, which was awesome. The biggest RVP meeting the company's ever had. And one of the things he talked about, and I want to kind of recap this. I got a couple minutes. Honey?
Yeah.
All right. He talked about our opportunity is stronger than ever. The income potential, the opportunity to build a business, and the president of the company, Peter Snyder, went through. I'm not going to go through the nuts and bolts, but fundamentally, we've never been in a more solid position to go out there. Forget about the stock opened at 17, was at 130 a couple weeks ago. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the things that are coming down for us to continue to grow. But the focus is you've got to continue to focus on recruiting. The reason they pulled that trigger on the $49 is they want everybody walking out there with the same intent. We are a recruiting and building business. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. I was at the gym this morning working out. I'll go, Michael Strahan has his own show. And I'm like, he has his own show? Wait, he used to be with this. I don't watch TV in the morning, but I'm watching. I go, that guy used to be a football player. Then he was on, now he's an announcer. I was in an airport with him, in a private airport in the Bahamas, right? And I talked to him for 2 seconds. He's got a little lisp too. I'm like, how are you on TV, right? So, but the fact is that dude, Michael Strahan's a sharp guy, but Michael Strahan used to be a football player. And as good as he was, if you put him back on the field right now, he's not going to perform as good. 10 years from now, there's no way he's going to perform as good, right? And so what the teams have to do, what the NFL has to do, what the basketball board, what the Army has to do, the military, they have to recruit. Colleges have to recruit. Recruiting is not a dirty word. So you got to get recruiting going on so you can field train and develop people. The greatest announcement they made is that field training bonus May 2nd. That even hasn't even kicked in, I don't think, yet for most people. And then getting people licensed. So every person that came on board and all the new teammates, because most of you in this room could go double digit between now and the 15th of this month. Some of you can go do 20, 30. If Jaime's team could go do 17 recruits in 5 days, damn it, you could go double-digit recruit in the next 15. Right? With the things that are in place. The focus is when you get them out there, get each one of those guys or gals going out there and getting that fast start bonus, and then making sure the company pays for their license and get them focused on promotions. Every person that came on board should focus on getting a district contract part-time, making themselves an extra $500 or $1,000 a month. Field training bonus started in May, and some people haven't even taken advantage of it yet, but real quick, 21,000 people so far, 21,000 people participated in field training bonus. 16,000 recruits came from that. 23 million in field training observation premium, people witnessing field training because of the field fast start bonus. 20.4 million of life advance was paid out to the field. 560 bonuses paid. The fastest one was 13 days. Now what? It doesn't take 13 days. I recruited a guy on Monday morning. Monday night, we closed one IBA and picked up. He made $300 in one day. His first bonus. But it's banked. It's put away. It's an escrow. He can't get that until he's licensed. He's going to licensing school. We have 29 people scheduled for our PFSU in our office. 16 are from our base shop. And they're going on the 13th and 14th. Well, this person got 13 days. They hit their bonus and they got licensed in 13 days. I think they cheated, but they did it, right? So the highest per week was 1,000, because what you don't want to do is, like, the largest one so far was $3,600 was the largest bonus. It's only been in existence for 7 weeks. It's not about getting a $4,000 or $5,000 bonus, which you could. Some people go do that. It's about getting licensed first and making the most amount in a short period of time. You said, oh, the guy made $1 million. A year is a lot of money. $1 million over your lifetime, not so much. Right? It's a time frame. It's condensing time frame. Yeah. So that's kind of what he talked about. Now check this out. We've never been in a better time. 1977, the company was founded. To 2016, we had 6,500 people put on their $50,000 watch. Jose, right? 6,500 people. That's 14 a month. 14 people every month put on their $50,000 watch. That was the first 40 years in Primerica. The last 2 to 3 years, we have 691 people put on their watch. That's 24 a month. We have more people making more money faster. Watch this. $100,000 earners. We had 3,200 people from 77 and 16. In the last 2.5 years, we added 398 more. Went from 7 a month to 14 a month. We doubled the amount of people putting on their $100,000 range. Diamond movements. Not movements, bowel movements, diamond movements, right? Diamond movements. Going from 100 to 200, 300 to 400, 500 to 600, right? 7 per month, we had 3,281 in the 40 years. 508 since the last 2, that's 18 a month versus 7. Check this out. We had 78 people earn between $1 million and $5 million a year. We had 11 more in the last 2.5 years. That's 5 a year versus 2 a year. I said it when I spoke and I closed out Friday night at the stadium. I think in the next 6 months, this company will promote more RVPs in the next 6 months than they ever have in the history of the company. Nice. And what that's going to do is it's going to drive it. Who's doing the out meeting, Steve? It's still going? All right, I just want to make sure. So, and when I don't finish, I'll finish up on Saturday. So watch this. Life leaders right here, 2018, and they talked about some people make more money in life, some people make more money in securities, but the goal, what they want to do is make sure you have that balance going on in building it. That's how you want to grow in building. So it says stronger than ever, 150,000 licensed. I'm not going to go through this. These are the 86 people right now that are on track to put on that $1 million ring. Cool thing is there's like 18 or 19 of them from our hierarchy, which is awesome, right? And then part of what he talked about is our focus is what? To grow, to play to our strengths and maximize. So I want to share this with you. I want to show you one other thing which I think is cool. And you want to take a snapshot of this, okay? This right here, Doris Chow put a $100,000 ring on in April or May. I pulled up her numbers and I spoke on Tuesday and I said, Doris, how many licenses do you have in the base shop? She says, I have 38. And I went through this presentation. I said, Doris, I pulled up your numbers today. How many licenses did you have the month you put your $100,000 ring on? She says, I know how many I had because you ask me every week. I had 34. The average person in Primerica who puts on their $100,000 ring, their team cash, not their cash, their team cash grows by 55% because they get other people involved. The average team size is 34. It was almost exact. I also say if you want to make $100,000 a year, you need 3 direct districts. How many have heard me say this, Jermaine? 3 direct districts making $1,000 a month or more, and you're making $100,000 a year. Doris last month made almost $12,000, had 3 people make over $1,000 in her base shop. The numbers never change. It's a constant. It's impossible to fail if you stay on it, right? By the way, that guy who had $200,000, I said it's impossible not to become a millionaire. He was a millionaire. Why? Because he stayed on it. You know how many other people we got started, we said the same thing, and they went and bought something they could afford, they put themselves in debt, they spent the money versus invested the money. You want to go to $250,000, those of you that have your ring but don't have your $250,000 income, what you've got to do is go from 34 to 95. So you don't think in the next year you can grow 60 licenses? The next 18 months? Watch this, want to make $500,000? When I was a plumber, $500,000 wasn't even possible.
Right.
There's no way. Even if I was the midnight plumber, there's no way. There's not enough hours in the day for me to change your water heater, your faucet, your silk cotton, none of that shit, right? $500,000. But when you make $500,000, when someone puts on their 5th diamond, which you see happening all the time, the cash flow of their team is up 40%. The promotions are up. New rings are up on their team. 437 licenses is what you need to go do that. You want to make $1 million a year. I'm going to give you 2 concepts. One is you can go do what Howard Lasher does and write his ass off and sit home and sit in a spa every day and get healthy and make $1 million a year doing that. If that's what you want, I don't want to do that. That resembles work. Or, and I don't mind working, but I want to work my ass off for a short period of time and be done. And that's what we did. I said to my wife, because you're going to go back in the field and you're going to answer a bunch of, I said, I'm going to do that for 3 to 6 months a year, put some direction in place, get some field trainers, and then show them how to do what I did. And if you want to grow your business, you got to take it personally. How many times have you heard me say, people don't take it personal? No, that's bullshit. Take it personal. Right. You personally get involved and let it rip. So watch, $1 million a year. The average person who puts $1 million ring on has 813 codes. Or they've got 30 directs, which is what Steve was talking about. Or they write their ass off like Tony and Shelly Narain. Tony and Shelly Narain have 189 licenses. And they made 1.2 million, but they write a lot of personal business. How cool is it that you can play your game and figure out what you want to do? And so when you look at that, thank you. Our business is a constant, right? All right, I'll finish the rest of this up on Saturday. Hey, for those of you that celebrate our great country, have a great Financial Independence Day on Thursday. And I want to just recognize those of you who have guests tonight, which is awesome. Anthony Walker's got a couple guests. Anthony Walker. Wilma Rosa. It's going to be a typo. Nina's got a guest. Jaime Ordonez. It says James Ordonez. That's Jaime in English. James. James Ordonez. Uziel Payat. Uziel G. Sorry, Steve's got 2 more guests. Emily's got a guest. Tina Lawyer's got 2 guests. Dennis Barron's got a guest. Alex Rodriguez. Good job. Renee St. Kitts. James Ordonez has another guest. Tina Lawyer's got 2 more guests, and then someone had 2 people. Jess had 2 more people pop in and sit in the opportunity meeting. So listen, guys. Last time I was here, it wasn't as packed as it is right now. The last time I was here, the op meeting wasn't standing room only like it is. Let's keep the momentum that you had going on since the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and let's take advantage of the things that are in place. And let's make a game plan that every single one of you is going to grow your. You want to make, if you're making 100, you want to make an extra 100,000. Just grow another 34 licenses. Nice. If you're at 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 licenses, go to 34 licenses. Get your RVP contract, make 6 figures. How awesome is it that we can control our income? We think, oh, I override other people. I can't control it. That's bullshit. You can absolutely control your income based upon the effort you put forward. I'll see you guys Saturday. Happy 4th of July.